Hello, welcome to Reaching for the Moon, hosted by me, Ed Grace. Today, I'm going to discuss what are the major differences between the planned Artemis moon missions and the actual Apollo moon missions from the 1960s and 70s. There were and are many contributors to the difference in missions. As such, I'm going to answer this question in two different posts. Today's post, I'll address the strategic and philosophical differences between the two programs. In the second video post, I'll address the actual differences in systems and equipment and the manner in which they're going to be utilized for Artemis. The USA had barely put a man in space when the Apollo program was announced. And yet, here was NASA trying to land on the moon. The Apollo program was certainly a stretch at that time, and there was no need to try to do a very ambitious program. Achieving the goal of landing on the moon and safely returning to Earth would make for a very successful mission and program. Okay, let's talk differences. For starters, there have been 50 years of technological advances since Apollo landed on the moon that will be utilized in Artemis program. For example, the Apollo guidance computer, which was used in both the Apollo command and lunar modules, had only 36K of memory. It weighed 70 pounds and occupied approximately 1 cubic foot of space. Yet, your cell phone has more compute power and capabilities than this Apollo computer, and is obviously much smaller, faster, and takes up less room. Artemis, on the other hand, has current state-of-the-art electronics and computers to use for its missions. Secondly, Artemis is not the first time for NASA to land on the moon. Apollo, with its landing, answered many of the questions and issues, and thus make it much easier for Artemis to accomplish the same task. 50 years ago, we were also in the middle of a Cold War with the Soviet Union, and simply put, politically, we needed to beat the Russians to the moon. Today, NASA is working with many commercial and international countries in our exploration of space. The International Space Station is a great example of many countries working together. Yes, there are many of us, including me, working on the Apollo program that were interested in the value of exploration and discovery. However, the main driving force for the Apollo program was purely political. President Kennedy had challenged NASA to land the man on the moon and return him safely to Earth by the end of the 60s decade. NASA accepted the challenge, and the Apollo program was born. Apollo had only one main goal: get to the moon, land, and return to Earth safely before the end of the decade. All technical design and mission decisions were based on this goal. Thus, it became imperative to find the easiest place to land on the moon, which turns out to be near its equator. The potential landing locations will be numerous, and the mission design architecture allows the flexibility to land at these interesting locations. You'll also need the least amount of spacecraft propellant and delta velocity to land on the moon near its equator. Thus, the decision for Apollo to land near the moon's equator became a given. As you can see on this slide, all of the Apollo moon landings, which are shown in blue, were near the moon's equator. But now that we're returning to the moon with Artemis program, everything changes. This slide shows the topography of the moon. As you can see, there are many interesting locations that we'll be able to explore on Artemis that we could not consider for Apollo. The trips will be longer so that we can gather a lot of scientific data about the moon. One of the Artemis goals for NASA is sustainability. That means the equipment and the systems must be designed to work for a long period of time. Living on another world is one of the main goals for NASA at Artemis, which means once you're at your destinations, you'll want to explore for a longer duration and build bases from which to operate. Shown is an artist's rendition of a base on the moon. Another goal is to demonstrate the mission capabilities that NASA will need to use in going to Mars. A mission to Mars will take much longer time. Projected surface days on Mars will be anywhere from 1 to 6 months. The Artemis program will certainly be a very exciting time of space exploration here in the US. In my next video post, I'll go into the equipment and the systems that are used on Artemis and how they differ from what was used on Apollo. For example, Artemis has a reusable lunar lander that was not available for the Apollo program. Reaching for the Moon will continue to provide progress on Artemis's Return to the Moon by 2024 program. If you like today's presentation, please give us a like. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to be informed by YouTube when Reaching for the Moon posts a new video. And remember always, failure is not an option. Thank you for watching.